Hey everybody, before the video starts, I felt it was only appropriate to address the elephant in the room, which is our PAX West 2025 impressions, which I created and posted. They were wrong. They were just flatly incorrect. I didn't set out to create a false narrative or anything, and that's no excuse, but I just didn't get things right here. At GVG, we strive to be both impartial and accurate as often as possible, and I just did not achieve that goal with those impressions videos. So today, we're taking the step of removing those, not so that we don't get called out for my rightfully bad video, but so that we don't further damage the reputation of the game or the team in any way. That was never our intention. So today I'm going to be posting impressions from direct feed capture that I have made myself, and I'll tell you the story is a lot different than what I thought at the show floor. Now that I've been able to play the game in my home and actually capture footage from it in a more ideal environment, I can see that I was just flat out wrong. The game achieves 30 FPS most of the time and looks pretty good doing it. That said, I want to apologize to both you, the viewer, and to the team at Ubisoft for just getting this one completely wrong. I just wasn't right here. There's no two ways about it. I hope that we can look past this and you guys can enjoy the rest of this video because there is a lot of great Star Wars content in here, and I hope you enjoy. Star Wars Outlaws is finally arriving on the Nintendo Switch 2, and it is one of the most ambitious games on the platform. Ubisoft is utilizing some of the technology that we've only heard about for the Nintendo Switch 2, and it's used to great effect here. Star Wars Outlaws appears to be running at nearly 1440p in docked. I couldn't tell you if it's 1080p in handheld, but it's doing so thanks to NVIDIA's Deep Learning Super Sampling, or DLSS, upscaling technology, a widely used upscaler that is commonly found in high-end desktop graphics cards. This is similar to what the PlayStation 5 Pro does with PSSR or FSR, which ironically is a selectable option in the PlayStation version of Star Wars Outlaws. Now, on the Nintendo Switch 2, we don't have the ability to really dive deep into the graphics options. There is a cinematic camera, which is not present on the PlayStation 5 version of the game, but absent of that, there aren't really a whole lot of customizable graphics options here. You can play with brightness or anything like that, but this is a straightforward presentation. Ubisoft has set a 30 FPS target for Star Wars Outlaws on the Switch 2, and it hits that most of the time. During my gameplay, about 3 to 4 hours at this point, I experienced very few dips from that 30 FPS. Even while traversing open world segments on the speeder and rotating the camera, trying to make it drop, I was unable to get any sustained drops. There are moments where it dips into the 20s, but they're not frequent enough for it to really worry me in terms of performance of the game. Of course, getting Star Wars Outlaws running on the Switch 2 did require a significant reduction in texture quality. Overall, I would say that environmental textures are kind of fuzzy, especially when viewed up close, but this isn't so much of a problem when you're playing in handheld mode. The game looks pretty sharp and runs very well. In docked mode, it still looks serviceable. It looks very good. The only distracting thing that I've noticed is around Kay's hair, especially when she's up against bright scenes. You can see some type of haloing effect around her hair that is common in games that are making heavy use of DLSS or similar upscaling technologies, usually because it's taking something that's rendered at a lower resolution and then upscaling it. DLSS kind of has issues with edges or finer details. That's where you'll notice the most artifacting. Though that being said, Star Wars Outlaws doesn't really have a terrible issue with artifacting, even knowing that DLSS is being employed. Unless you're looking very closely, you're not going to notice most of this while the game is in motion. What impressed me even more than the use of DLSS, however, was hardware ray tracing, which is, I believe, the first documented use of it in a Nintendo Switch 2 game. I don't believe that Cyberpunk 2077 on the Switch 2 is actually using ray tracing. Instead, it's using the global illumination system from the PS4 and Xbox One versions of that game. However, here, Ubisoft has confirmed that they used hardware ray tracing on the Switch to generate some of the lighting. I do have some issues with the lighting. I don't think it's super impressive most of the time. However, in certain instances, I did find some compelling use of lighting that just looked really good. For instance, stormtroopers look fantastic. Just the way that the light reflects off of their shiny plastic armor is very impressive here. Every stormtrooper that I saw in Star Wars Outlaws looked really good, regardless of if they were on the Imperial fuel station or if they were just on the surface of a planet. Every time I ran into one, I was consistently impressed by how they look. Sometimes when light was filtering through things like fan blades, it looked very nice. In others, in bars and such, where the light was maybe like a bright red light or a bright blue light, I could occasionally see it kind of clip during cutscenes. It's very clear that the lighting model changes to a degree in cutscenes and then changes back for gameplay. But that's, again, not a really big issue. It's very obvious that Ubisoft made some sacrifices here to get the game running on the Nintendo Switch 2. If you place it side by side with the PS5, especially the Pro version, those are very apparent changes, but realistically, very few people are going to be playing these side by side looking for differences, and I like what I see here. From a technological perspective, Star Wars Outlaws runs very well, much more competently than I had initially assumed, and it looks fantastic. I still will likely play the PS5 version. There is a cloud save feature, so you can move your save between both PS5 and Nintendo Switch 2 or any other platform in Nintendo Switch 2, but the final verdict is that this game is a technical showcase for the Switch 2. Contrary to what I have previously said, this looks and plays quite well on Nintendo's handheld platform, and it is a pretty impressive piece of kit for the Switch 2. Yes, there are downgrades. Yes, it doesn't look as good as PS5, but that was never the expectation here, and it's hats off to Ubisoft for making something that manages to take a big open world and cram it into a tiny console and keep it at a mostly stable 30 FPS. That's a great trade-off that I think most people are going to be willing to take for the ability to have this game portably. I'm going to go ahead and leave some gameplay on here for you guys to check out for some extended impressions without me talking over them, so you can both see and hear the game. Again, my apologies for being totally wrong on this one previously. I hope that you guys were able to get a better feel for the game with this new footage, and we'll see you guys next time.
Copy.
They got us!
All right, you see that Imperial comms relay? We get over there, we wipe its data, and the imps forget all about us.
Right, okay. Guess I'll need to take out these ties first.
Right behind me. Copy that. Ties on us!
I'm on it!
Trailblazer's been hit! Trailblazer's in critical condition.
Whew, that's it. We've lost them.
We did it. We did it. Who's this guy in the jar?
Bosnock.
Bosnock. Good. Yeah. Great. Get close to the relay and I can wipe the system. Just need a few seconds. Uninterrupted.
Okay, are we good?
We're all clear. Let's get back to Maragana. Quick.
Hang on! You all good back there, Bosnock?
Oh yeah, been a while since I felt a rush like that. You guys do this a lot?
So, is this guy joining our crew, or...?
We're not a crew, and no, he is not.